and 50 respectively. Observations. Number 6, 3, and 7 on page 67. Response. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the Permanent Secretary and Secretary Treasury, the PSST, in various acts is the board member of the, for example, in NSSF, BOU, UBRA, URA, and other institutions. The PSST personally attends the meetings of BOU and URA for better coordination of the monetary policy and revenue mobilization in order to promote administration and managerial efficiency. It delegates suitable qualified senior staff on their competence to the boards who regularly report to him. The PSST and Secretary of Treasury delegated the Deputy Secretary of Treasury to handle this responsibility on his behalf of the board of NSSF. Recommendation number 1 on page 139. Honorable Matia responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. My ministry agrees with the recommendations of the committee that the signing of various memorandum without the approval of the Attorney General is irregular. However, when this matter was of paying Ms. Geraldine Sally came before the NSSF board, according to the board minutes, this payment was owed. Therefore, there was no financial loss caused. Recommendation number 2, A, B, C, on page 140. Honorable Matia response. The ministry agrees with the whole recommendations of the committee in this regard. I therefore once again thank the Select Committee of Parliament on the National Social Security Fund for this wonderful report. Recommendation number 3 on page 140. I agree that the full supervision of the fund should be streamlined back to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, as was recommended by His Excellency the President during the amendments to the NSSF Act. The ministry had similar recommendations at various stages of the approval of the amendments of the bill. The responsibility for appointing of the board members should also remain with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development with the approval of Cabinet, as is the case for all the other MDAs. Recommendation number 5 on page 141. The minister responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the board made attempts to recover the line title through court. Court ruled in favor of NSSF, but Alcon and Sime, Kabega, and 4 advocates did not hand over the title. Therefore, court granted permission with instructions for Ministry of Lands to cancel the old title and process a fresh title for the workers' house in the names of NSSF. This is being pursued by NSSF. Recommendation number 7 on page 141. Minister responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker, the request for the 6 billion by my colleague, Honorable Betty Amon, is irregular. For the 10 years that NSSF was directly supervised by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, this scenario did not occur. It will not occur even when this is returned to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Activities of the ministries should be, according to Honorable Matia Kasaija, activities of the ministries should be financed from the consolidated fund through appropriation by Parliament. I agree with him. Recommendation number 10 on page 141. Response.
Anita is the one I agree with him, part of the report.
No. The messenger is trying to say the message is okay. Right Honorable Speaker.
Let her finish her report, then you bring your issues. You are going to debate these reports. Let her finish.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. A petition against the appointment of Dr. Sam Jumoki and Ms. Penina Mwesiga was received at my office 2 days after I had already appointed the 2 persons on NSSF board. The appointment followed the rigorous process of fit and proper assessment by the sector regulator. The Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA, I could not have known the irregularities of the nominees since they are internal dealings of COFT. Recommendation number 12 on page 141. The minister responds, according to the records available, these two members did not retire voluntarily, but the environment created forced them to do so. In the interests of introducing more female members to the board, the Honorable Betty Among, the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, requested to
Anita,
replace.
she's called Among, not Among.
This is very distinct. I know the. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Amongi. The Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development requested to replace at least two female members with female members from the same constituencies. Since their negotiated resignation was to pave way for the female representatives. They demanded for same from some form of consideration in lieu of the circumstances surrounding their resignation. This followed two meetings as shown in attached annexes 1 and 2. The board made their recommendations to the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Honorable Minister Betty Amongi, and it was up to her to accept the recommendations, reject it altogether, or provide an alternative. Therefore, the two former board members were granted this conversation following the guidance of the meeting chaired by Honorable Minister Betty. You can see Annex 1 for that. The board has no powers to appoint or remove or specify terms of either actions on board members. Recommendation number 13 on page 145. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Honorable Matia responds that the Office of the Auditor General has already begun conducting the value for money audit on these projects. Recommendations number 26 on page 149. Minister responds, as a matter of good governance practice, NSSF investment will continue to be guided by the investment policy of the funder under the different asset classes. The fund shared this investment policy with the committee. In conclusion, the Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Honorable Matia responds that the 12th board has made in place for 1.5 years. Most of these issues cited by the committee that were causing weaknesses in governance predated the appointment of the current board. Since its inauguration, the 12th board has been preoccupied with the transition from the old law to the new law. Therefore, this matter needs to be discussed in light of the above. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I beg to move on behalf of Right Honorable Matia Kasaiya, Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honorable Anita. You've got the report from Honorable Kasaiya. Honorable Betty's report was also uploaded. It's on your computers. She will come and present it. Can we hear from our three colleagues? Honorable Agnes, Honorable Mugole, and then Honorable Werike. They have one report that combines all of them. Then there is a separate one of Honorable Kunihira. It was also uploaded. It must be on your accounts.
Right Honorable Speaker and members. I'm here to make personal statement on behalf of myself and that of Honorable Erika Peter and Honorable Boy here.
Go ahead and read the report. Stephen,
Yes.
it is not a personal statement. It is your joint
Yes,
statement.
joint statement.
Because
Joint statement.
why don't you read the report as it is?
Joint statement. Joint statement. So this is that on 25th January,
Yes, Doctor.
Honorable Speaker, I'm very much constrained to raise this procedure issue. But because we stand here to create precedents that bind us to stay and tomorrow.
Just a minute before you bring the procedure matter. Why wouldn't you come and make your statement? Werike comes and Kunihira. Much as you are all lumped up in one recommendation, each of you was mentioned individually.
Right, Honorable Speaker, if there is any pride that a teacher would take, is seeing their students excel at what they do. You have my notes. There is no provision in our rules for joint statements. If you want to make a personal statement, it can only be personal. That to you. That was my.
Thank you so much, Council. You are mentioned in one recommendation, but each of you should make a presentation.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you for the guidance. So this is a personal statement in respect of the report of the Select Committee on Parliament on the state of affairs.
By the way, you're
NSSF.
personal. You don't
Yes.
need to say it's a personal statement because we cannot debate on a personal statement. Read, this is a statement on APCT.
This is a statement in respect of the report of the Select Committee of Parliament on the state of affairs of NSSF presented before the House on 1st March 2023. That on 25th January 2023, Parliament set up a select committee to investigate into the state of affairs of National Social Security Fund, and indeed on 1st March 2023, the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Pakawine, also by chairperson of the Committee on Trade, Tourism and Industry, presented the said report before the House for debate and adoption. On pages 147 and 148 of the impugned report,
The chairman
name-
of the committee, Honorable Pakamwine, presented the report on behalf of the committee.
yeah,
It was not his personal report.
guidance. On pages 147 and 148 of the impugned report, my name was mentioned as those who benefited from the 10% NSSF illegal contributions, and therefore the committee recommended that, and I quote, the committee recommends that the above NSSF board members who have been receiving the money should refund it within 7 days, 7 working days, or face prosecution by the office of the DP. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the right to be heard is well enshrined in Article 28, 42, and 43C of the Constitution 1995. And it is non-derogable. We were condemned, or I was condemned and heard by the committee. I was never invited to appear before the committee to substantiate on the allegation of illegally receiving 10% NSSF. Whereas I was large, number 5 and the sitting member of Parliament. The right to be heard means that a person must appear before an impartial tribunal, in this case, the committee, before it proceeds to render an adverse recommendation like this. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, had the committee been invited, or had the committee invited me as part of according to me a fair hearing, I would have been able, among others, to state and report. Appointment to the NSSF board. I am Mugolebo David Stephen. I was appointed to the board of NSSF by Honorable Minister of Finance on April 14th, 2019 for a board term of 3 years. I consider I didn't even conclude that term because when I came to Parliament, I resigned from that position. The said appointment are designed, or it is designed in the same language as stated, and stated the remunerations as per the board terms and conditions of engagement. And I would like to lay on the table a copy of the appointment and my acceptance letter. I think. Therefore, as part of, and that was part of my engagement. And the issue of 10% and 5% was to be deducted from my emolument as an entitlement. And I also here by lay on table, I beg lay an instrument from the board that gives the entitlement to me as a member of the board, and which is always verified by UBRA,
The instrument is signed by whom?
by the Corporation Secretary of
Dated,
NSSF,
dated when?
dated. This is a sample. This is a sample because it's given to everyone.
I am saying dated when?
This one is dated. I've given a sample one with the most recent, which is of September 2021.
Dated when?
September 2021.
Chair, Honorable Speaker, procedural. I would request, is it procedural right for us to start laying samples? Because there must be, for you to have a sample, there must be original. Yeah, I've never seen us playing samples here, but it should be.
It is a circular. It is the circular which is given.
The one which was given to you would be much better if you
Is a
want.
circular addressed to you?
Yes, to all body members. Also,
The circular is not addressed to you as a person. Yes, it is addressed to the 12th board of directors of NSSF. So this document is for everybody, not for you.
Yeah.
Are you a board member of the 12th
I was
board
of
of
the 11th board.
directors?
I was of the 11th board.
But why are you laying what is not meant for you? So you take back your document. We can take the one which was signed by Anite, appointment as a board member.
Yeah, and I will lay that for you.
There is a procedure matter here. So you retract the document from the record first. First retract your document.
I retract this one and I will with
What are you retracting?
I am retracting the one of 3rd September 2021, and I will provide.
And what is it?
This one is an instrument from the board, which gives this as an entitlement.
Madam Speaker, the procedural issue I seek to raise, reading from the preamble of the presentation by our own colleague, it's as if his claim is that he was not heard.
There are two issues. Was he paid? Did he receive the money? And then the other one is a defense. As much as I received the money, you did not hear me. First of all, the question we should ask is, were you paid? That should be the first thing. Let him first finish his submission. Then we can now go when we are debating. You'll ask your questions.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members. Under minute 1, of 1 87.9 of the NSSF.
Actually, what we are doing now is hearing the member. Because this is an extension of the committee. So we are giving him now fair hearing. So we'll make a decision from this house on what the committee has recommended.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members. Under minute 1 of 187.9 of NSSF on standard contributions and entitlement, dated 2nd August 2011, that introduced the impugned deductions and entitlement to all members of the board who were not public servants and who were not above 55 years of age. It did it as an entitlement. So as and when you go to NSSF, you are given that as an entitlement. That's part of the package. I also hereby lay on table, I beg, lay the minute, the adoption, the minute as it was adopted and the recommendation of the 11th, of 2011. So by the time I joined NSSF in 2019, this had started in 2011.
As a procedure matter.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The member is being heard on the merits of his arguments. And the documents is referring to his saying it's laying. Ordinarily, when a document is laid here, it goes to the library and members have to access it. And yet we're about to debate. I want to move that the member reads all the documents word for word that is presenting to us here to allow members make a fair judgment of what is presenting. For example, if he mentions that under a particular minute, it was agreed that all members of the board should contribute to NSSF, he should be able to refer to that particular clause in the minutes so that we can follow and then we can debate.
Please go ahead.
Right, Honorable Speaker. If I may refer to the minutes of the board that sat on 2nd August 2011, that introduced this as an entitlement to the board, which is uploaded, I suppose. It says in 187.9, NSSF standard contribution for directors. Informed the 3 directors who were eligible to pay NSSF standard contribution, namely Mrs. Yole Aripa Kirabo, Mr. Romano Ojambo Ocheng, and Mr. Richard Bigiru. And the second minute says, noted that with the effect from May 2011, 5% employee contributions were being deducted from the emoluments of the 3 directors, while the fund was meeting the employer's 10% contribution. So by the time I joined the board in 2019, this was ongoing. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the right to be heard means that a person must appear before an impartial tribunal, in this case the committee, before it proceeds to render such an adverse recommendation. Right, Honorable Speaker, had the committee invited us or invited me, I think they would have not come up with such recommendation. Committee recommendation. Committee recommendation. The recommendation, therefore, that all board members who received and continue to receive the 10% as part of their entitlement is an illegality, was arrived at in contravention of rules of natural justice. And the committee afforded us that opportunity, the committee will not be able to make such disparaging recommendations against me without being heard. Right, Honorable Speaker, taxpayers' money has been expended on committee work, and their reports have been quashed by courts of law. There is a long list of decided court cases which have rendered committee work worthless. For instance, Mohammed Al-Bai versus Attorney General, miscellaneous code number 217 of 2021, the High Court quashed the COSAS report on expropriated properties on grounds, among others, proceeding propriety, which includes
Honorable
failure
members, some order.
to accord a witness fair hearing. In other court cases like that of Honorable Joseph Murangira versus Attorney General, Constitutional Court Petition number 7 of 2014, Twino Businje Severino versus Attorney General, Constitutional Petition number 47 of 2011, the Constitutional Court declared null and void
Yes, Dr. Pe.
parliamentary committee reports for control.
He's finishing. Let him finish. You're going to disorganize him.
It's a small clarification.
Let him finish, then you make a clarification.
We need to preserve the integrity of this report by expunging our names from the report before Parliament adopts it. Otherwise, it's susceptible to being challenged before courts of law on grounds of not affording me a fair hearing. I thank you.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, don't scare anybody. Don't scare anybody. Anybody is free to go and get redress from court. We are talking about savers' money. Did you get the money? And we are giving you a fair hearing now. We are giving you a fair hearing now, Stephen. And I want to refer you back to minute 187.9. NSSF standard contribution for directors. Informed that 3 directors were eligible to pay NSSF standard contribution, namely Jolly Aripa, Kiravo, Mr. Romanio, Ojambo, Ocheng, and Mr. Richard Begirwa. Is any of you one of them? That is one. Maybe before we go further, let's look at recommendation 6. I would suggest we expunge recommendation 6. First of all, some of them have died. Fiona used to be my woman member of parliament. Egunyo.
I suggest, and I take your guidance. I think it's a movement in the right direction. My suggestion, however, for procedural neatness is to hear them first, discuss the merits, propriety or otherwise of the entire action. For example, if we found that the deceased had taken our money illegally, can go and pick the money from the estate. But we may also preempt and at the end of the day find that it was appropriate.
First study that recommendation and your advice. You study
I am
it.
alive with your permission, right, Honorable Speaker. My view is that let's hear them and they tell their stories. Then we start.
It is actually not related to our members' recommendations. Onegi, who?
Yeah.
Those ones. So can we first hear from the second one? Honorable Werike, Honorable Kunihira. We will allow a debate on this. Members, calm down.
Thank you, right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Segona and study 6.
I'm making my response in regard with the findings of the committee, which made this report on 1st of March.
Right Honorable Speaker. Mine is on matter of natural justice and fair hearing. That whereas we participated in forming up this committee, I definitely knew that if there would be an issue that would come out, the committee would definitely want to get clarity and make this report well. But I missed that opportunity when they did that. So I was not able to raise some of these issues, which I would want to say now. On the issue of appointment, Right Honorable Speaker, I was appointed on 4th February 2019, which I would like to lay. And that letter spells out that the minister shall make a remuneration for the board member who is being appointed. And in addition, before you finally get to sit on the board, again, you are supposed to be licensed by the regulator, UPRA. And this regulator is given these documents. I would like also to submit that the process.
Procedure,
like
Madam
to-
Speaker,
What are
I would
you
like
doing on table?
procedure,
Right Honorable Speaker,
procedure. Madam
that
Speaker.
after receiving the appointment, you go through UPRA to get a license as a trustee. And on 3rd of May, after receiving my appointment letter, on 4th of April, on 3rd of May, 2019, I received a letter from UPRA, from the corporation secretary notifying me about UPRA. It states, we are here in the process of applying for your
The
trust
letter was addressed to who?
to Werika Kustopa.
Okay.
We are here in the process of applying for your trustee license to ensure compliance with the UPRA Act as per the process. We have completed the application forms on your behalf and now require you to append your signature on the application forms and statutory declaration subject to any other corrections signed by the corporation sector. All these documents goes with the remunerations that have been granted by the minister. So, Right Honorable Speaker, what am I saying on this letter? It's UPRA is our regulator, goes through this process of governance. And the Honorable Minister who appointed me Minister of Finance, I am actually surprised that in the response, the Honorable Minister is jumping to respond on these sections, and yet is the one who appointed us
Procedure, Madam.
and gave
Speaker.
us.
When
this
Honorable
Madam
Minister,
Speaker.
you're the one who appointed them, You
So
respond.
there was a skip
But
on the,
procedural matter,
on
Madam
the
Speaker.
remuneration.
No, let's first hear from the minute. You sit down when your minister is.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, at the time of appointing the honorable members, I was holding court as on behalf of Honorable Machaka Saija, as you have seen on the letter, the appointment letter that she's laid on table. However, we appointed him strictly to go and perform his duty, not to encroach on the servants.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable Werike. Honorable members, what is on the appointment letter? They're entitled to sitting allowance for every meeting of the board, a monthly retainer, and unappropriate duty facilitation allowance for local and foreign travels. All duly approved rates. All at duly approved rates. That is what is on the appointment letter. Can you continue? Let him finish.
On the entitlement of 10%, Right Honorable Minister, Right Honorable Speaker, this was a resolution made by the area board, which the following posts who are going there were just receiving. I was not have any meeting in a party that decided that I should earn 10%. So I received something which I found, which was ongoing. And this was done by instrument of the minute of 2nd August 2011.
You read that, what is in the minute?
Where the board members, 187.9, NSSF standard contribution for directors, inform that their directors who are eligible to pay NSSF standard contributions, namely Jole Kiravalipa, Mr. Romano Ojambo Cheng, and Mr. Vigirwa Richard. 2, noted that with effect from May 2021, 5% employee contribution were going to be deducted from emoluments of the 3 directors, while the fund was meeting the employees' 10% contribution. And this is what was set in 2011 and has continued to be updated. And has been continued to updated in again the remuneration of the board, which expires in 2024, which spells out on the issue of NSSF. So, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, Madam Speaker, I don't grant clarification.
Honorable
Right,
Werike,
Honorable Speaker, and
Honorable
honorable
Werike.
members, the select committee,
Honorable Werike, you have a specific 1 minute which sets precedence for everybody, apart from the first 3. You have it,
this can be.
because you're relying on a wrong minute. Let's have that minute which shows that out of this minute, the rest were supposed to benefit.
Right, Honorable Speaker, when I showed this of 2029, is the current minute, which is talking about the board expiry of 2024. This instrument, it grants these benefits up to 2024. So we just left
It
it
grants benefits to who?
to the board members.
Who were mentioned,
Because it-
who were mentioned in that
This
that
one was
minute?
mentioned, but in a board
Who
circular,
was mentioned to be a beneficiary, to be entitled?
at that time when their term expired, because it's a 3-year term, right, Honorable Speaker. In
Uh,
conclusion,
Aisha,
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. In respect, and I pray that the colleague listens to me. In respect to the 3 directors you are reading, what was so special about them? Were you replacing them? I want to know the category of constituents of those people. Were you replacing them? Why only those 3 are they receiving such entitlement? Will help us understand probably why those who came later on received it. So would you clarify about those 3 directors?
can we hear from the chairman first?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Actually, even the 3 directors you are referring to, it was also illegal. Section 3(6) of the NSSF Act requires the minister to ensure that the persons he or she appoints to the NSSF board represent employers, are contributing employers under Section 7. This essentially means that those employers must be contributing to the NSSF and not for NSSF to contribute for the employees. Therefore, the contribution by the NSSF for members of the board is illegal, since there exists no employee-employer relationship.
Right, Honorable Speaker, in respect with what Honorable Aisha has raised,
That has been responded to. Go straight to your report.
In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members,
Honorable members, please listen. Feta. Honorable Feta.
I still state that during the investigation, and were members who create this advocacy.
Are
for
you
the
still
right to
on
be-
your
for
report?
The right to be heard. I was not given that opportunity to be heard, and therefore this is what I've read. I beg to
Thank
submit.
you, thank you. Agnes, members, you only debate. I thought you're a member of the committee.
I'm just, I'm giving information.
Are you giving information?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. When you look at page 8 of the report, the stakeholders that we met as a committee, it includes the workers' representatives, the members of parliament who are representing workers. We wrote to them, we invited them, and they came, and we gave them the terms of reference. So when they came, they didn't present this issue to us. So it's the board that gave us this information later on. So after the board giving us the information, we looked at the facts. Did they get the money or not? Was it right to get the money or not? That was our basis.
So the members appear to the committee.
Right Honorable
Right
Speaker, I
Honorable
want to get clarification from my.
You don't.
Right. Right, Honorable Speaker. Yes, the members did appear before the committee.
Honorable members, don't put personal feelings onto this thing. And as I told you, I know machineries in this house. And before we go for a debate, I want you to mention your name before you mention anything, so that the public knows who is for the savers and who is against the savers. Don't bring your personal feelings here. Let's look at a way of protecting the savers' money. This is a very hard-earned cash that you're just going to play because somebody has given you something kidogo. Stop it. We are going, you may stand up, mention your name and debate so that the public knows who said what. Honorable Nathan. I picked you because you're busy with my muko.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. You see, what you're being presented is really a serious matter. And that's why I like the Honorable Asha's issue. What was the constraint? Now, that's why I wanted to make just small just a request to you, Madam Speaker, so that when we're going to those who are presenting, help us to understand. Under the NSSF Act, the moment you are 45 years and above, you don't contribute. And the board members who are coming in, what was the agreement and understand? Because they are coming and saying, we followed this, because I'm sure you're going to call another one. You say we are following the minute of 2011. We want a minute which refers to them and what is in the appointment letter, which my sister Anita raised and said, for me, I gave you the letter, not to go and encroach, but to go and work. So, Madam Speaker, my request is that if there are these members, if you believe that they need to make a case, maybe we ask the committee to look at their case at the committee level, so that when they come, so that when they don't, then when they come here, for us, we don't want to waste time with this report because we have already.
Let's hear the final one. The aspect of 45 years and below, and the aspect of a specific minute, as we have already said. Let's first hear.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. I would beg that you listen to us, understand our case, and make the right judgment. I want also to to inform members that I served on the board of directors, as a board of directors of the NSSF, from June 2022 to May 2015. Appointed. No, sorry, correction. From June 2012 to May 2015, appointed by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Maria Chiwanuka. I was never involved at that time in determining our benefits as a board member. I therefore would like to state as follows: that the matter of 10% statutory contribution was settled under the said minute 187.9. I've had member questioning the issue of directors and non-directors and why 2 or 3. It was very clear that it should be only those below 55 years. And by that time, the chairman Sekono was above 55 years, was a retired public service employee. The other member representing workers, Mr. Kairita, who has since died, was above. He was also above 55. That's how at that time it applied to only 3 directors who were below 45. The other 2 were statutory representatives of the ministry. The one of Ministry of Finance and the one of Ministry of Labor. And I know members, I want to request that you listen to us when we read this circular. For every board, after being appointed, management takes your appointment letters and gives you a detailed document of how your emoluments are going to be managed. They present the amount that you're supposed to get, but they also, let me read it out for you. Kindly note the following additional details. A retainer payments are paid on a monthly basis and directly to the director's respective accounts. A tax of 30,000 is deducted from each director. 30%. The NSF contribution are deducted from eligible directors. Payments of government representatives are not affected by this tax. Seating allowance for all board sittings, ordinary and extraordinary, full board and committee meetings are processed quarterly after verifying attendance by way of directors sign off confirming attendance. Directors are paid a foreign travel allowance for every day of the scheduled training, including day travel. Subsistence allowance is paid to directors for conducting fund business outside Kampala. I might not go into details. This is a standard document that the management of NSSF gives out to every individual. I wanted to make that clarification, honorable colleagues. Honorable colleagues, on my side, on my case, I was also mentioned. That was item 1 of statutory contribution of NSF. On my side, I was also mentioned under page 97 about the smart card system. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, my attention has also been drawn to the observation and recommendations of the committee in relation to smart card system. The report states that the project started in 2010, as clearly stated in that report. I was only appointed on the board in the year 2012, the month of May. Benchmarking study carried out in 2014 was not in any way intended to carry out due diligence or procurement processes. It was for members to appreciate the usage of the smart card system. The 3 board members were delegated by the board. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee has made a blanket recommendation without clearing the role of individuals in that procurement. I was not a board member by 2010. I left the board May 2012 before the contract was signed by Mr. Richard Vyarugaba. Which contract, 2015, sorry, which contract was between NSSF and Madras for procurement of the smart card system on 22nd June 2015. Honorable members, I would like to lay on table the contract signed by Vyarugaba and between NSSF and Madras Security Printers Private Limited on 23rd day of June 2015. I had since left in May 2015. I beg to lay, and I was surprised the community did not invest into all this matter, but identified a few members to be held responsible. The contract was between, yes. I beg to lay this contract between NSSF and Madarasa Security Printers Private Limited, 23rd day of June 2015. I beg.
Signed by who?
Signed by Richard Vyarugaba, Managing Director, in the presence of Richard Wejuli Wabwire, Corporation Secretary, between Madrasa Security Printers. The signatory is Asir Ratan Singh. I beg to lay on table. I therefore want to get clarification from the chairperson. What was the criteria used to selectively name individuals like me who never participated in procurement, due diligence, signing of the contract, and execution of the project? What was the motivation?
Honorable Agnes, did you happen to travel to Tanzania and Namibia on the procurement of the smart card? By any chance?
Right Honorable Speaker, Tanzania was a country that uses the process, the smart card. I did not go on the procurement process, neither did I go for due diligence.
Did you go to Tanzania and Namibia?
True, I traveled for a benchmarking study.
Yes, that is the answer. That's the answer. That is
between
the
benchmarking and procurement and due diligence.
As a former board member,
and
excuse me, Agnes, as a former board member, is a decision of the board a personal decision or board decision?
Thank you, Speaker. That is a very good question. They have recommended 3 people. Every action of individual members of the board.
They have not recommended 3 people.
They have mentioned 3.
They have recommended 24 people.
They have recommended 3 people, and every
you have the document.
Yes.
I am talking about 24 people. In the report, we only have 3 MPs who are affected in the House. The rest are not members of parliament. But they are saying the rest must pay.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about another item card now. We are talking about smart cards, not the statutory deductions. I'm on the smart card. And that's what I'm saying. Out of that list.
So how many were you in that team of the smart
Out of that list, there are only 3 board members. And the board, the 3 board members acted on the interest of the full board. And the visit to Namibia was not to brochure. It was a study tour. Tanzania and Namibia do not supply.
That finally led to the procurement. You finalize. Finalize.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. My question was on the basis of recommendation 27.
Honorable Kanus, why are you disturbing him?
Mpindi is intimidating me as a member of the committee. I must say that.
I thought you're all members of disability.
Yes, but also disabilities know how to intimidate each other, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg for your protection from this disability man.
Honorable Mpindi. Honorable Stephen, now you're doing the job.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, if only my sister would take her seat. I am seeking your procedural guidance because this is very critical in terms of what we call fair processes. On the one hand, there's a group of our colleagues saying there was no fair hearing because we're not heard. If we proceed without resolving that issue, it is going to continue coming back to haunt us because there is a group of board members, former board members, who are not members of parliament and who we are not going to hear today. Would it not be procedurally right first? We establish as a matter of fact, one, whether these former board members were heard or not. And two, the rules require that we receive the minutes, whether these questions were actually put to them. Before they come to stampede us with answers, we need to establish as a fact, were they invited by the committee? Were they asked about these very questions we are hearing today? Because the chairperson of the committee, who would speak for the committee, is in the house. I think if we do not ascertain this as a fact, we'll be moving.
Council, why don't we finalize to get her statement and then we now go back and look at, one, there was an aspect of fair hearing. Two, there is an aspect of where these members, employees of NSSF, for them to be able to pay, that is under section 11 and 12 of NSSF Act.
Madam Speaker, I'm very grateful.
Can we hear
However,
from
that
Agnes?
be a discussion into the merits.
Let's hear from Agnes. Let her finish her submission. Agnes, conclude.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the report on the study tour. Maybe as the honorable colleague is suggesting, the chair may now have opportunity to review the right documents. I would like to seek clarification from the chair, Madam Speaker. Why was Richard Yarugaba, who signed the agreement, who did the procurement, who did the payment, why was he not included in all this list under the system, the smart card system? Why was he not included and part? And yet he's the one who signed the agreement, the contract. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, finally, the chair has a lot of time. He should allow us to talk because he did not give us the time at the floor, at the committee level.
But Agnes, but did you go to the committee as a a workers representative.
They called me for another issue. They never asked any question. He's here. If he asked me anything to do with that, the smart card. Right Honorable Speaker, finally, the right to fair hearing in Uganda is well settled under Article 28, 42, 44 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which provides that a person appearing before an administrative official body has a right to be treated justly and fairly. Honorable members, the select committee did not invite us to respond on all these allegations. I therefore want to appeal to members to afford us a fair hearing after getting the details that you have shared you. I beg to submit.
Honorable member, I want you to tell us what you requested from the workers MP, what you want, you expect, what you asked them to submit, and if you asked them to submit within what was in the terms of reference.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I would like to clarify on one issue before. The Honorable member stated that this smart card was procured in 2010 before she was a board member. This is not true. Our report on page 97 states, Right Honorable Speaker and members, the NSF management in 2014 adopted the smart card concept. So it is not true that we said it was 2010. The report, you have the report on your iPads. 2014, she was a board member. The other issue I want to clarify on, she said, the Honorable member stated that we didn't put Mr. Byarugaba. When you look at page, on that specific recommendation, the person who signed on behalf of Byarugaba was Miss Geraldine Sali Usu, and she's number M, letter M. It was not Mr. Richard Byarugaba who signed. It was the deputy managing director at that time. And she has also been included in the recommendations. Right Honorable members, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, you can check that recommendation. The last letter M was Miss Geraldine Sali, who signed, and that is also attached in your annexes. It was not.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
Yes,
the agreement that she has laid on the table, she has read that the one who signed is
Byarugaba.
Richard Byarugaba. Can we get clarity?
Can we
on that?
get you as which talks of Geraldine?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Her claim is that out of the whole board, only 3 have been accused, have been cited. And according to what you have read, actually, the matter was approved by the entire board. Her question, why didn't you accuse the whole board? Because Byarugaba was also one of them. How many, and in fact, I wanted to know from her, how many of the board members, how many other people are left out? We want to know how many are left out. Why didn't you accuse the whole board?
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, that recommendation reads, the committee recommends that the IGG should investigate all persons. Investigate. It means even others can be included. However, these are the ones who participated, who flew to do due diligence, who did what? These are the ones who captured. But the recommendation is not limited. The IGG is going to investigate. And if there's any other person involved, that person will also be implicated in this.
Were the 3 members of the finance committee of the board?
Well, they can tell you, but they're the ones who trouble.
Clarification.
Chair.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, I have advantage that I worked with Byarugaba and I know his signature. And the good thing, the contract I'm having here, which was signed long when I had left, because it was signed on 23rd June 2015. I had left the NSF board. And that means before procurement, no activity was being implemented. And it is signed by the Arugaba, and I read the names. You asked me to read, and I laid it here.
Right Honorable Speaker, procedure.
So what
Procedure.
are you laying again?
He has asked for it.
It was
Right,
laid.
right
I mean,
Honorable Speaker. You see, I am a prisoner of knowledge and the propriety of processes. And I want to insist for the record, there is no way we can proceed in this bucket for explanations without ascertaining fundamental questions. The first fundamental question was, were these honorable members and other former board members invited, listened to, and asked these specific questions? And now, where we are with this ping pong, we want the minutes. Number two, and to me, this is not about
the
substance.
minutes were laid the other day when the report was laid. Honorable Mpaka, the issue of fair hearing.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members.
Before Mpaka,
Right Honorable Speaker, as the Honorable Mpaka addresses the issue of fair hearing, it is also important for you to help the committee to ascertain who was responsible for this mess.
which mess?
This payment, this illegal payment, because like it or not, all indications that these payments are illegal, were our colleagues part and parcel of the process of these illegal payments, or they were beneficiaries of an illegal process. And because we must be very clear on that. If they were mere beneficiaries, how do we treat them? And then what happens to those who occasioned the illegal payments? I just clarified that.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members.
I think,
Yes, Richard,
just
Richard.
thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And the House at large. The Honorable Segona has just raised one of the issues which is very fundamental. We have other fundamental issues, Madam Speaker. First, the ascertainment of whether these board members were in employment of service or not. The issue of eligibility, the 15% standard contribution is clearly by law under section 6 of the NSSF Act. Now, Madam Speaker, the NSSF Act does not clearly define an employee, but an employee has been defined under the income tax.
The NSSF Act Section 11 defines who an employee is. Check 11 and 12 and defines who is eligible.
Yes, I have looked at them,
contribute.
Madam Speaker. But when you go to the definitions under section 1, section 1, section 1, I mean I, an employee should be an employee in Uganda and is ordinarily resident in Uganda. But I want to draw the House to the definition of an employee.
Are we still looking at fair hearing?
Yeah, not fair hearing.
No, what the Honorable Segona said. Let's first sort out the issue of fair hearing. Then we'll now go to whether these members were part of the employees of NSSF.
Most obliged, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you, Right Honorable.
strictly on fair hearing.
Right Honorable, as we are, because we are, Honorable Agnes is on the floor and we want
She's
to.
not on the floor.
And-
She finished her submission. We are now giving her responses.
Yes, so Right Honorable Speaker, in the fair hearing, because a member has insinuated that some of these other people that are being left out possibly could have had the hearing
and these that are implicated, we are not heard. Because the Right Honorable Speaker, the process of smart card does not begin and end with the signature. There was the whole beginning, the initiation, the travel, procurement, allowing everything. So looking at only the signature alone is not enough for us to conclude that this one.
Honorable Mpaka, can we respond on fair hearing?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, as I informed you, Attorney General versus Fox Odoe Constitutional Petition 34 of 2013. The right to be heard is limited to the opportunity to be heard. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the honorable colleagues here are beneficiaries of a board decision. The board that took this decision was given a right to be heard. The board appeared before the committee. The board testified. The current board, the 12th board, the board testified that they were receiving this money and they agreed that it was illegal because there's no employee-employer relationship. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, these committees do work on your behalf. If at all you think, because our recommendation was to recover the savers' money, if at all you think those that we did not meet, much as we are aware they received this money, should not refund, it is entirely up to you. Because we met, of the total number of the board members, we met all the members of the current board. And they are also included here. And we asked them on this specific matter. I beg to submit.
Right Honorable issue. With your
Honorable Mutembule, Nathan Fox.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about a very serious issue of natural justice. And this has nothing to do with the merits. And if we don't handle it carefully, we are likely to waste our time here, come up with the recommendations, and they will be quashed. The issue of saying that the board, the 12th board came and appeared, and he told us this and the other. And then we are talking about the members who of the 10th, 11th board. There are issues, Right Honorable Speaker. You ought, and this should go to all of us, the committee chairpersons, that every time you're going to make a recommendation and it's going to affect an individual, you must give that individual an opportunity to be heard. We shall debate, look at all these issues, and what will happen, the matter goes to court and the recommendations are quashed, and we would have wasted a lot of our time. May I advise and move that this particular recommendation that we are talking about, that is affecting the members of parliament, have the opportunity now to say something. What about those other ones who have been mentioned and did not say anything? They were not heard, they were not given opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a serious matter. Before even start thinking about the merits of the report, we must have this resolved. And if we don't resolve it well, the recommendations and the entire report is likely to be quashed on that.
Honorable Fox.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to take you through the ingredients of the non-derogable right to a fair hearing. When a person is accused, that person has to get an invitation to be heard. There must be a charge that they can understand that lays out the allegations made against them so that they can prepare their defense. They must be given time, reasonable time to prepare and present their defense. Now, Right Honorable Speaker,
what is apparent is that there's an illegality on the record. What is also apparent is that the honorable members of parliament and the other board members were not accorded a fair hearing within the ambit of the law. And Right Honorable Speaker, this is such a critical report that we must preserve. We must do all it takes to preserve this report. Can I plead, Right Honorable, that we stand over the debate on only these parts?
We are not standing over any debate. Have you heard?
I have heard, Right Honorable.
Honorable members,
Madam Speaker.
one thing we must know, these members did not pay themselves. A decision was not taken by them to pay them. We must hold the persons who paid them culpable. If the person who paid them wants to recover from them, then he should recover from them. Yes, Nathan.
Thank you very
There's
much.
a procedural matter
Madam
here.
Speaker.
Procedural matter.
Right Honorable Speaker, in light of the issue of fair hearing that has been raised by my senior colleague,
Order.
the Honorable Fox Odoy and the Honorable Segona and Honorable Mutembuli, wouldn't it be procedurally right, Honorable Speaker, this particular recommendation asking our colleagues to pay the money to be expunged from the report?
We cannot expunge this recommendation. The person who did the payment must pay the money.
And I was amending.
You amended the recommendation, but
Yes,
not
this
expunge
particular,
it.
because it is potentially, it can infect the entire report. Because there is issue of fair hearing, it can infect the whole report. It is my humble submission, Right Honorable Speaker, that whoever was responsible for the illegal payments be made accountable. Whoever took the decision, because these were mere beneficiaries, whoever took the decision to pay our colleagues and the others who cannot have an opportunity to appear here should be personally liable and do good the damage that was occasioned.
All right.
Order.
Procedure.
Order.
Procedure.
There is a procedure from Order.
Procedure.
There was a procedure from Order.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. The procedural matter I'm raising first is twofold. The members had asked to come to the floor, make personal statements so that they can be heard by this house, which I think the house has received. Now, what is important is now for us to go and debate. Each individual member of parliament here, having heard from two sides, can then make contribution whether the submission by the honorable members here amounts to the infringement on their rights to be heard, or their submission here is enough to convince us to proceed. When it comes to the recommendation, we can therefore propose to retain the recommendation as the committee has proposed. We can reject it or we can amend it. That should actually come in the debate and towards the end. What I now see is that we have now entered the substantive debate without actually debating the matter. So the procedural matter I want to add.
Is there a way of gazetting that debate starts at this time?
Yes. Yes.
No, I opened the debate. I opened the debate on what they were raising.
Right Honorable Speaker.
And that's what you're doing now.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you. You had guided that after him would sort out a few preliminary issues. And I want to thank you. And I would ask the young Honorable Nandaraba family to take his seat as I speak. Right Honorable Speaker. One, I partly want to associate myself with the Honorable Odul to the extent, one, that as we speak now, it is premature for us to conclude whether the payment was illegal or legal. That's number one. Number two, when we reach somewhere and find that it was illegal, then I would move in to support the Honorable Asman Wasaliwa as guided by your good office or your good chair, that the person who took that illegal decision pays. It has been conceded in the communication of my able young honorable friend, the chair, who did a very thorough report, by the way, for which I congratulate him and his team, that what they did, they invited the current board. Now, inevitably, the current board spoke for the previous board members. Now that would raise some issues. And I don't want people to be stampeded by the threat of what we'll push our report. No, that will bog us down. Let us be stampeded by our conscience that we are doing the right job and doing it rightly. In other words, even without anticipating that court might do something, we must convince ourselves that we are doing the right thing and the right way. I would move therefore and suggest, one, that we have resolved the issue of invitation and hearing. Now with the debate, we can move. No, don't take me to that. We have convinced ourselves as to the propriety of the process and where we are so far. Let's examine whether the payment was illegal or not before we conclude. I beg to move.
Honorable Nathan was on the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you're a board member, you are the policy maker. You are the one who makes the law in that organization. And if the board member made a policy to pay themselves, it is an illegal policy. And if you benefit from an act which you know it is wrong, then you have committed a what? A crime. And I want to state from that on onset that if there are board members who knew that they are doing a wrong thing and continue with it, in fact, it's like being caught with a stolen thing, you're a thief. So, Madam Speaker, there's nothing we should shy from. What we must interrogate, one, what was paid in the letter of appointment of the emoluments? If they paid you anything from outside that, did you question? If you never questioned, then you participated in the theft. That's number one. Number two, Madam Speaker, I want to ask the chair of the committee, please don't lose your head. You have done a good report. I know you're about to lose this your report. But what I want to put across is that there's where we delegate. If I'm the boss and I delegate, I remain accountable and held reliable. Now, if Biaruanga delegated Sari, if Biarugava delegated Nasari, whatever the case is Sari, you cannot remove, you cannot only mention Sari and leave also making it in bold letters Biarugava. Because
I'm giving my senior colleague Honorable Nandala information. Yarugava did delegate the powers, but he was out of office. His contract had not yet been renewed. So Geraldine Sali was the acting managing director.
thank you very much. If that's the case, now that's where you draw us to another point, Madam Speaker. That's why we would need to interrogate. From when did the process begin? And from when did it what? End? Because the one who started it may not have been the one who concluded it. But if he had started it wrongly, then if the one who concluded it wrongly, but the one who initiated it must be held liable. So, Madam Speaker, I want to agree with your statement of saying that the one who paid be held also reliable. That is a true statement. But also the one who got it when knowing it is wrong must be held what? Liable. Under Article 164 of our Constitution of Uganda, it clearly states that if you occasion a loss, whether you're still in office or you have left office, you will be personally what? Liable. So I will not get intimidated by anybody saying that the court will quash the report. No. What we can do to avoid that, even we say all board members who benefited from this must be held what?
Thank you, Honorable Nathan. I am opening the debate. Beta Mongi says she's coming. Let's debate. She'll make up. Her report is on the other paper. I mean, it's uploaded. We will not make a decision, but let's debate. Elder. Two minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I have basically 4 areas to comment. One, commend the management and board of NSSF for raising My name is James Baba. I represent the people of Komoko County. I want to commend the NSSS board and management for growing the fund from 1.7 to 17.9 trillion. I think that's a commendable job we should recognize. Number 2, I'm not one of those who wants to hang Minister Mongi. Although she tried all her level best to access 6 billion outside the requirements, she did not succeed. There is nowhere in the report which mentioned that Minister of Gender got the 6 billion money. But I want to commend her for blowing the whistle that there was a problem in NSF management, and the select committee has vilified her for that position. Number 3, mainly on the abuse of workers' money, savings. There was mention of 1.8 billion for board members. There was mention of use of suspend account money, 57 billion. There was mention of payment of VAT of 5.7 billion, which was not required to be paid, but that money was paid. Nobody knows where it went, but there was no requirement to pay that money. There was mention of...
You're saying nobody knows where the 1.8 went?
No, the 5.7 VAT money. There was no requirement to pay that money, but it was paid. So who chewed that money?
Thank you, thank you.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, on investments in West Nile Club, that money must be written off. It was a poor investment. And Onego Bell.
Honorable members, it is not our role as Parliament to recommend that we write off that amount of money. Let's not mislead the country, Elder.
Then mention of Onego Bell, that a man who was chairman of the board was arrested, imprisoned, prosecuted, and was finally cleared by the anti-corruption court. A man cannot be tried twice for the same offense. I beg to submit. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, keep your calm. At the end of the day, we'll know who is a machinery and who is not. Honorable Kivalia,
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
if there is an attempted rape, you will be prosecuted.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are debating an issue that concerns this nation. And this is people's money. Somebody who has his money to go there and begin playing around with the people's money, we cannot entertain, as the senior is saying. In fact, my first prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish somebody could take this message to the president. There is no way a better investigation will go on when the minister concerned is still the minister overseeing the program. Let the president do justice to this country, ask the minister to step aside as investigations continue. In the same spirit, Right Honorable Speaker, on most occasions, the police has arrested people here that is suspecting somebody to be committing a crime in the next few minutes. There are people here who stole money. There are people here. You can't tell me that the MTV Arugaba is still moving around and some of these people cannot be in prison. This is a criminal. There is glaring evidence that people stole money. Let other investigations go on because there is this other gentleman, Kazinda. Kazinda was put in as investigations were continuing and as they were prosecuting others. Let some of these people, there are these four, first be arrested, we move on as we continue investigating. Lastly, the Right Honorable Speaker, our colleagues, some of these could be witnesses. They will help us, you get it? They will help us in our investigation. But let the key people, whoever was responsible for stealing money, sharing money, eating money, this board, let this board be in prison, Right Honorable Speaker.
Say chance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you and my chairman on the Committee of Health for letting me benchmark in Rwanda. For sure, Rwanda is developing at a very high speed. Why? Because they have zero tolerance to corruption. Madam Speaker,
say chance.
Really,
just it is not your chair who gave you to go and benchmark. It is Parliament of
Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, indeed what is disturbing here, we tolerate corruption. However, our committee mentioned the names of our colleagues here, but I don't know why again they didn't invite them for inquiries at the committee level, yet they mentioned their names here. So we need also to dig into that. It's also a kind of corruption. Thank you.
Honorable, maybe just for your information, this is an extension. This is a committee of the whole house. This is an extension of the other committee. That committee that sat there is part of our committee. So there is no corruption in our committee. If the committee is corrupt, then you are corrupt. You are corrupt yourself if the committee is corrupt. So never say that our committee is corrupt because they are not. They are doing work for and on behalf of this parliament and on your own behalf. Emily?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Dr. Emily Kugonza, Member of Parliament for Buyanja East County. I want to appreciate the committee for the great report, but I want to look at what happened in 2011, the minute that has been referred to. That's where the big problem started, where they made a decision to remunerate the board, and yet the remuneration of the board is a preserve of the Minister of Finance. And I think anybody who was a board member of NSSF from 2011, who has been benefiting from this particular resolution, must be held culpable. And as a parliament, we really need to, because first of all, the law is very clear how the terms of the board are set. If you are given a responsibility that you set your own terms, which is against the law, then you are certainly responsible. And then also, the other point I would like to make is in reference to corporate governance, the governance of the entire NSSF. If you look at the law, you have the minister who appoints the board. Again, the minister appoints the managing director. The right way should have been that the minister appoints the board, and the board puts in place the managing director, and the managing director responds to the board. And then we would be able to solve many of these other issues that are rising in the authority. I beg to submit.
Members, look at the amendment that the Honorable Emily is bringing on board. Chair, I hope you've heard.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Mention your name before you make a submission so that we have it on record that this is the person.
Yes, my name is Atalingo Solomon. I represent the people of Tor County in Bukwa District. I want to join colleagues, Right Honorable Speaker, in congratulating the chair and his team for that brilliant report. However, I have one item that I got some concern. In the report, there was somewhere where one supervisor, head of business, was supervising his close relatives in his office. That shows, the Right Honorable Speaker, that there must be a lot of problems in as much as recruitment of staff in NSSF is concerned. I would propose, Right Honorable Speaker, that we include an item where we have human resource audit for the NSSF, such that we get to understand how the recruitment has been done from henceforth. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
There is an aspect of forensic audit. It must be a forensic audit on NSSF, not particularly on suspense account. It should be on the NSSF. Sanoni?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I want to thank you.
Who are you?
You had mentioned earlier. My name is Wire Sanon Nadeva, MP for Bulamoji Kaliru. Right Honorable, I want to thank Parliament for having the zeal to save and protect the savers' money. Right Honorable, I want to commend the work of the committee, because when you look at the time we gave them and the quality of the report, if we had given them more time, I don't think we would even need a forensic audit. I want to thank you. Right Honorable, there is an issue which was passed by the 10th Parliament. And this Parliament passed this law that this very fund should be supervised by the Ministry of Gender and Finance. Right Honorable, the committee has recommended that the responsibilities should almost go back to the Ministry of Finance. Right Honorable, we have suffered.
And that is not a recommendation. What the committee is saying on the appointment of the MD, it should be done by the Minister of Finance, and then the corporate governance on the issues of the board, it should be done by gender.
Yeah, Right Honorable.
Draw management.
Yes, that one should be upheld, because what was in the circles, that the responsibility of this fund should move away from the Ministry of Gender. Then last, Right Honorable, when you look at
and actually what you're saying, that is the amendment that Honorable Emily was bringing on board.
Yeah. When you look at NSSF, problem. Right Honorable, the problems have been in NSSF for a very long time. And when the committee came up to clarify to us about the issues of the board and the management, I think that is where the biggest problem is. That is the board and this other.
Thank you.
Yes, Jackson. Lee.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Atima Jackson Lee Buti, representing Arua Central from Arua City. I start by thanking the committee for doing a commendable job. I have few points to raise. One, the board members' composition. I believe if we can have gender parity with positions of vice chairperson being provided for, this will avoid some of the challenges where when the chairperson is not there, somebody jumps in to act. Two, this board should reflect national outlook with the 12 members covering the 4 major regions in this country: Western, Central, Eastern, and Northern Uganda should be represented in the 12-member membership. Lastly, Parliament should directly approve the budget of NSSF. 18 trillions being managed by one minister, I think is a disservice to this country. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Lee. The issue of national character must come in. Musomesa. Xavier.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm God Choma Xavier, MP Uganda North. I want to thank the committee for the work well done. Likewise, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you. When you look at the terms of references you gave to the committee, that term of reference of examining the corporate governance of the fund is very, very paramount. And all these issues being identified in the report, it is because the operations of the fund are devoid of the corporate governance principles. Just imagine where a ministry approve the rest of the issues in the budget and pens the investment decision in the budget by imposing conditions. And that is one ministry, yet was the responsibility of the ministry. I think, Right Honorable, even the dual supervision has a problem in itself. Look at an issue where 11 billion was lent to Uganda craze. Unsecured loan, it increased up to 24. They have only recovered 221 billion, or rather million. Virtually, they have recovered nothing. Remember, it is not secured. If it was a fund observing total corporate governance principles, all this would not be done. The governance would be doing its work, management doing its work, the ministers doing their work. So I want to thank you very much, but it is my prayer that out of this report, we address the governance issues at the fund. And it is also my prayer that the recommendations in this report actually be implemented by those who are responsible. I thank you.
Thank you. Isaac.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm Ituka Isaac Joaquino, the Member of Parliament for Upper Mali County. Right Honorable Speaker and members, when we look at the issue of NSSF, the taxpayers' money, the savers' money, it is a very big challenge that the poor Ugandans have lost billions of money, which in fact must be refunded at all costs. Madam Speaker, the issue of suspense account was prominent in this report. And I wonder how NSSF, with all the machinery in the place, the staff and what have you, would say that there are people who cannot be traced and yet they have been receiving this money. These are people who come from various organizations. I think if you have someone whom you think is not there, you can follow this person through the organization for which this person has been working. And I think, Madam Speaker, there's a deliberate move in NSSF to see that some people are just eliminated and this money is shared among the people who are in these offices. I pray that all those whose funds have been in suspense account should be followed so that the owners get the money which belongs to them. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. What is on suspense account is the unclaimed funds that we may need to open the veil and know who are these people who did not claim for their funds and yet they were beneficiaries. Feta, Faith.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Feta Geoffrey. I represent the people of Ivo Division East, Arua City. I have two issues. One, the mismanagement of NSSF in NSSF of the Savers Fund is a replica of what is happening in this country in very many MDAs. Unfortunately, we come here, we talk about it, but we don't have the opportunity to implement many of these recommendations that we make. We had an opportunity to go to Lusaka with the chairperson of PAC funded by Parliament. And in the House, they are given 60 days for the executive to implement the recommendations that are made by the House. Now, when you look at the funds involved that have been squandered, and you look at the state of the savers struggling to access 10 million shillings, struggling to access 30 million shillings, struggling to access 40 million shillings, and yet people are sharing 250 million shillings at ease. And this House must sit here and accept that it is okay. When they decided to pay themselves, it is okay. And therefore, we should accept that we should not give them period of natural justice so that at the end of the process, it can be quashed. And then we waste our time. Two, the chairperson was telling us here and recommending that the investment which was made, I picked from his report, that the investment which was made in 2003 of 2.3 billion should be written off. We have had his report.
That's not what the chair said. That was Honorable Papa, not the chair. Don't put those words in the chair's report. Are you withdraw? Withdraw that statement.
If it is not true, I withdraw. But I want to say this.
Don't say if it is not true.
Okay, I do.
True.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I do withdraw. Can I give information? Yes.
You're not the speaker. Faith. Next is Faith.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Magolo, John Faith. I'm the member of Parliament for Bungoko North. I commend highly the committee and the chair for the report and all its details. And I pray that at the end of the day, if there are hiccup here and one and or two, they can still be removed and the still report remains intact because does not remove the value that it has. Whereas there is a commendable job that the NSSF did to raise the savers money to 18.3% in the last 5 years. If that trend continued, that means that it could have been greater if due diligence was done. But now this means that it was not done because of all the investments
they attempted to do as have been revealed in the report. When we look at the Uganda Clays Limited, giving them unsecured loan, which has accumulated to a loss of 24.8 billion shillings. And out there on the trading world, when Uganda Clays posts how they are doing well, how they are the best local construction and all that business company, it defeats our understanding when we begin seeing this. And when we look at the issue of investing in the real estate, which was seemingly a good idea, a good business plan, making good business sense on paper, and when it comes, we see all this where you put free. No one is occupying them. That does not bring out a good business sense. And yet we talk about NSF, when we look at it, we are seeing having good and seasoned businessmen. When it's time to speak, we see them speaking business. When it comes to reality, where are we heading as a country? In final analysis, I actually concur with every detail of what the committee has recommended. If there are any shortcomings, they should be dealt with, but the full report still speaks to the aspirations of every Ugandan who wants to see good progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mawi James is my name, Member of Parliament for Juman East constituency.
After James, we have a Chan. Then we have Okini.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee chair and the members for the report. Right Honorable Speaker, we have given a chance for everybody to give their versions. On behalf of my people, Right Honorable Speaker, and on my own behalf, I happen to be also one of the servers with the NSSF. And when we look at what is happening here, I sometimes ask myself, do we really have the money? Much as the paperwork is saying, NSSF has grown from this to this, but do we have this money? Is the question which we need to ask ourselves about. Because looking at the trend the money is taking, I'm a bit worried, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Matia Kasaeza has given a defense here because he was one of the person who was accused here. And he was ably represented by our sister, Honorable Anita. And from there, he was agreeing with the report of the committee about what the NSSF was doing. But the Ministry of Finance is one of the is the body which supervises the NSSF. Now, are they aware of what is taking place in the NSSF? If they are aware, why have they not taken decision over this matter? Right Honorable Speaker, members were paid without the law. They have undergone the law because the law said these are the people to be paid, but they went ahead to pay other members a certain percentage. And the board itself and the technical persons did not take into consideration or look into this matter until it was discovered by the committee, meaning there is an issue between the board and the technical officers. So I was asking, when we sat here, I was asked if there is a need for recovery. The board has mistakes, and at the same time, the technical officers have mistakes. Who is going to recover this? Because the committee report is saying, let this person step aside, let the minister step aside. And now, are we going to have someone in the NSSF office to take charge of the office? Because we are seeing everybody has issues, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
The office is only not managed by one person. It's an institution, a very big institution. So never get worried that the institution will be left alone. Judith.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, my name is Judith Bisa-Chan. I represent the people of Noya District. Madam Speaker, in the report, I quoted one part of the report where the report indicates the MD at that time indicates that he was under due pressure to approve the budget, the money. Right Honorable Speaker, I do not want.
It is not the MD who approved the money.
The minister was putting him under pressure to approve. I do not want the House or you, Madam Speaker, for someone to allege that you are putting him or her under pressure without any evidence. And the committee did not lay the evidence before the House for us to scrutinize. And if there was unlawful payment to board members, Madam Speaker, that is negligence of duties of a responsible officer at that particular time. So I would beg to submit that we stand liable for any misconduct, any negligence of duty of our offices. I beg to submit.
Maybe for your information, there was a letter in regard to the 6 billion shillings that we are talking about. The letter was written to the MD and was authored by the Lines Minister. So we are not making any mistake per se. We are acting within the law with the evidence that we have on paper. Okin PP.
Thank you.
PPP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Okin PP Ojara. I represent the people of Chua West, Kingdom District. Madam Speaker, I want to talk about the external interference in the NSF governance system. When you read the report, there was a bit mention of names. For example, of the coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation. It was mentioned in the report, yes. But the committee is, I think his name is General Salim Saleh. It was just an injection in the report. But I don't know why the committee did not find it.
Did you hear it from the report?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I have it here.
Which
I
page?
can quote.
Just help us. Which page?
In the executive summary. In the let me just be honest.
Executive
No,
summary
at the
is
executive
got from the
summary,
main report.
they made mention that a petition, just let me quote, a petition was given to the Operation Wealth Creation coordinator. His name was mentioned. So I just want to find out.
The chair is here. Is that correct?
Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, there's no mention of the name General Salim Saleh in the report. There's only, in the WhatsApp chat, there's only the initials, Jen, J-E-N.
Madam Speaker, I have the report here. At least the coordinator of the Operational Wealth Creation's position was mentioned in the report.
No, it is not correct.
Secondly, Madam
It's
Speaker.
not correct. That is not, don't mislead the House. That is not correct. Make a submission on something else, but not what you're thinking about.
However, Madam Speaker, petitions were given. The report quoted petitions being given to the Prime Minister. Is that also not correct?
Whom are you asking?
To
whom are you asking?
To the Prime Minister, and then also to the President.
I am still asking you.
But unfortunately,
be a gentleman enough.
okay.
I am saying, whom are you asking whether it was not correct or it's correct?
I was trying to refer to, because now the chairman was also responding when I was debating.
When you're in this house, you address the chair. And the chair is the speaker.
Okay, through you, Madam Chair. Through you, Madam Chair. Through you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. The President's name was mentioned that a petition was given to him. The Prime Minister's name was mentioned that a petition was given to him, to her. Through you, Madam Speaker. We have not had the chairperson of the committee mentioning that these people were interviewed as well. And their views actually what? collected and given to the.
There is an order from the
Then
minister.
lastly,
There is an order from the
Madam Speaker.
There is an
Sit down.
there is an
Alone, you sit
there is
down.
an order from the minister.
What is wrong with you?
From Honorable.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think we have been so patiently in this house as members of this house, scrutinizing for the last submission by the chair and today's summary about this report. Madam Chair, if a member has not been following the report on this floor, and then you come to jumble and trying to confuse the entire parliament, is it in order to bring in the name of the general in this kind of conversation? Is it in order?
I don't
not.
If I don't even know the general you're talking about, and of course it's not in order.
Thank you.
You're dragging in the president, you're dragging in the prime minister, you're dragging.
Okay. Now,
PPPP.
can I
Thank
just
you
conclude
very
now?
much, Madam.
Can I conclude, Madam Speaker?
If you are not PPP, say
Honorable, there is only one PPPP.
exactly.
Yes.
You can now sit down and listen. Thank
Members
you.
listen to PP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Okot Santa, MP for Aru North constituency.
A president of PPP.
And the president and everything. Madam Speaker, I rise to thank the committee for the report that they have brought to the House. But also I want this parliament to take note that this is not the first time that NSSF has been found into this kind of saga of removing or stealing money from NSSF, which is money for the savers. It happened at the time when Joy Bakoko Bakoro was a minister. The same thing happens between the board of NSSF and the minister Joy Bakoko Bakoro. And we can confirm this, that indeed Joy Bakoko Bakoro could have had a hand into the NSSF fund because she ran away outside the country. Madam Speaker, it is a high time that we stand our ground to find a way of how to pick the members of the board of the NSSF. Otherwise, we are going to continue with this problem until the people we represent will complain on us. The second issue I want to bring out is that we must have a very, very strong policy. Why is it that these issues are not happening in other boards and commissions of other ministries? This money does not belong to anybody. The money belongs to the savers, and the savers outside there are really suffering. If today I hear about some money which is put aside in a separate account, saying that the money could be for some people who have disappeared, some people who have already died, the board of NSSF should find out the people whose money is being kept in a separate account. Last year, I had a gentleman whose son passed on. I came with his card to NSSF. I failed to get the explanation from NSSF. They wanted the man to come. The man came, and then they said, because the mother of the children were already not there, but the children was with this man, of the son who died. They said they wanted the woman to come for the money. I told NSSF, this man has come here twice. Take the percent of the lady away because the woman is in South Sudan, but the man has children. Give the percentage of the children to the man. NSSF could not handle that until the man went back and he has given up. I am sure the money which is in separate account is the money of our people who have given up because they have worked many times to access the money and they cannot. So in that file of the people who are not there, I am sure the next of kins are there, and you know the home of the people, the villages, they know. They must trace these people and pay back their money.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Emmanuel, Martin, Gabriel. Members, I'm coming.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I am Emmanuel Ongierto Jor, the MP for Jonam in Pakwach District. Madam Speaker, I want to start by thanking the committee for a report well done and for a job well done. Madam Speaker, we are having problems with NSSF because it seems they have endless monies. They have monies that do not get defined in terms of how much they are. You may be mentioning this, but the money is too much for some of these people to handle. And I now see why people don't want to leave offices there, even when their term expires, because they know what they are getting from there. And they know for sure that the monies that get lost is so little that it's like a drop in the ocean. And they would believe that probably somebody would not get them. Yes, this time we may have got them in the areas where the terms of reference was defined, but I know for sure that monies have been lost even in areas that may not have been covered by the terms of reference. That's why I accept to the recommendation about a forensic audit, and that may probably go and discover other things. And Madam Speaker, for me, this money should be reduced. And how? I want to accept the recommendations they have given, but I also want to add that the age for accessing this money should also be reduced, so that the money is not too much for people to swim in it. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Martin Mapendos.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I join my colleagues in thanking the chair of the committee for doing a wonderful job. And Honorable Parker, I want to say I'm proud of you. You have done a good job. Right Honorable Speaker, a thing like this is a litmus test to this House. And especially when some of our colleagues are mentioned in the report to have received money regularly. There are those who think that those members should have been invited before the committee. I have a contrary view. I don't think the committee needed to invite them because they did not decide in giving money to themselves. But the finding is that they actually receive money irregularly. There was a group that decided to give money and that decision was not correct. And so it is right for the committee to say those who receive monies that they should have not received should pay back. They should pay back. Yes, we are talking about people who took the decision, they should be held liable. But there are people we know who got the money that they should have not got. They should pay that money back. I can see there is a member, Honorable Wairiki, who received 37,014,341. Should pay that money back. There is another one, Kunira, 12,430,000. Pay that money back because, you know, Right Honorable Speaker, the challenge we have, why I call this a litmus test, the people out there, the citizens who are following us, know that we are likely to be timid because Right Honorable Speaker, just to conclude, if we want to show to Ugandans that we care about the savers, it has to start with us. So honorable members, if the problem is that 7 days that you have to pay the money is too short, then you have to negotiate on a longer repayment schedule. That is it. Otherwise, this money has to be paid back. The committee should be appreciated for what they have done. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. You mentioned my name. I'm Mukumu Gabriel, Member of Parliament for Koro County in Zombo District. I would like to thank the chairperson for the ad hoc committee for the report, and would like to assure you that Parliament is behind you. I would also like to thank the Speaker. Fighting corruption is not a simple matter. I know very many people would be looking for your shadows instead. About the recommendation, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to recommend that Parliament adopts the whole recommendation and the office is responsible for its implementation should move on to implement the recommendations. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, NSSF in some cases pays very low interest rates to the savers. I would like to request Parliament and other authorities to pick interest to the interest rate yearly paid to the savers. That is why money is overaccumulated and yet the savers get very little money. That's what I would like to submit on this. We are fully behind you and would like Parliament to implement the report to the dot. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Serubra Stefan, MP Lugazi Municipality. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm among the victims of the robbed savings as a teacher. Right Honorable Speaker, I've ever been in a school which failed to remit money to NSSF. And then NSSF penalized it with 100 million shillings and it almost collapsed. It almost collapsed because of the penalty. Right Honorable Speaker, we know very well that very many scandals have been in this country. We know very well that in the ministries, there's corruption. We know very well that people have stolen government money. But this is our hard-earned savings. Hard-earned savings in the villages, Right Honorable Speaker. People in the villages there who are saving with the NSSF, they are not involved at all when NSSF is making decisions. When they are appointing board members, they are not involved at all. At the end of the day, we are affected. Right Honorable Speaker, I know very well in the villages still people who have lost their properties because when they want loans, for example, from banks, someone who has 20 million shillings with NSSF is, for example, in need of a loan of 10 million shillings or 3 million shillings. Mortgages his house, he fails to pay back and is having his money. How come that NSSF would not use NSSF as a mortgage? Like someone who has 30 million shillings, you want 10 million shillings, you can use the NSSF money and you get the loan. But people are losing properties in the villages, yet people are here enjoying our hard-earned savings. Right Honorable Speaker, we've kept quiet on very many scandals, but on this one, we're not going to keep quiet. We need our savings back. Whoever took our money, we need it back at the capital.
Charles.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Matov Charles, Member of Parliament representing Busolo South Constituency.
Members, if you've talked, you're not going to talk again. There are people who have not spoken. Like my Hajat, just don't even stand. Even Hassan, don't stand. I only want those who have not spoken.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you again. I'm the Member of Parliament for Busolo South Constituency. I want to thank the chairperson for the report and for patching holes in that fund. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to address myself to the fact that when we were young, we used to keep sugar in the tins. And once you don't cover the tins, you find all sorts of insects in that tin. Right Honorable Speaker, what happens that the fund has caused so many people to be attracted. And I want to put you on notice, Right Honorable Speaker, for a motion for an amendment to have the fund under the Ministry of Finance directly guided through the consolidated fund, so as to restrict people from accessing that money wherever they want. That has caused so many people to steal the money. Yeah, it is a suggestion that I'm proposing to the Speaker and to the House. But of course, the minister is in charge of the investment for the fund. So as guided, still we can direct the money to the consolidated fund. Right Honorable Speaker, another suggestion.
The fund has its account. Yeah, it is a fund on its own.
Right Honorable Speaker. That is not government money.
By the way, it is not government money.
Yeah.
It is people's money.
People's money.
but we have to fend off the as we wind up. The last one, right, Honorable Speaker.
Taylor,
Right, Honorable Speaker, the last one is the fund directs the minister to lay to Parliament the benefits of the servers. Now, to uplift the spirit of the servers, the minister will be accommodated to Parliament to bring the benefits so as to raise the hand.
let's first look at the safety of the fund
Thank you.
before you go into the benefits. Because you first need, somebody was saying, who was saying that we first need to know whether the 17 trillion is actually there. That's what we need to first find out. Because you may be talking about book figures. Eh? Martin,
yes.
Taylor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Martin Muzari. I come from Kamuli, that is representing the people of Zion. Right Honorable Speaker, I begin by appreciating the report. And my first concern is these are issues captured right from 2010 up to date. My concern would be the audit reports right from 2010 to date. What have they been capturing? If we look at those audited reports, do we have these issues captured? And if not, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to look at the quality of our reports that come to this House. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, in the report, they didn't capture well the issue of the investment department per se. The idea of
Was it part of the terms of reference?
Right Honorable Speaker, the report talks about the 3 billion houses. One house costing 3 billion. Right Honorable
And
Speaker.
in the recommendation, the committee says a forensic audit must be instituted on the investments that the firm has made. Meaning they could not go further. That's why they are asking for a forensic audit on that investment.
Okay, Right Honorable Speaker, I appreciate that. But I want Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about the workers' funds. And if we are doing an investment plan, we should be very considerate in terms of affordability. How much can a worker afford in terms when we are saying we are costing a house? A house of 3 billion is very expensive for an ordinary worker. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, it comes to corporate governance. The minister requested for 6 billion. And if the window was very clear, this money would have been eaten. That alone, Right Honorable Speaker, is enough to explain that the minister is not clear and is not clean. And we should begin to hold these people accountable, Right Honorable Speaker. Issues of corruption, we should speak loud enough. All this mess that we are talking about, Right Honorable Speaker, is being supervised by the minister. And if things have not been going on well, the minister must be held accountable, Right Honorable Speaker. One of my colleagues raised that the president should help us. No, we have the powers, Right Honorable Speaker. Let us do it the way we did it to Namuganza. The rest we shall see. I thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Taylor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Colleagues, take your seats. I have the floor. My name is John Taylor. I represent the people of Bugabula North Constituency from Kamuli District. Right Honorable Speaker, for once we are reawakened, thanks be to Honorable Parker, on the issues which are pertaining to the common people who hustle every day to save their money. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a governance issue at NSSF. And a lot of issues have been highlighted by my colleagues. I'll make reference to the issue of human resource. Right Honorable Speaker, the report highlighted a gentleman who is supervising relatives.
But I'm convinced beyond doubt that this person does not singularly recruit these people. And he also puts them in the department which supervises. This is just an eye-opener. Right, Honorable Speaker, the entire management of NSSF is lacking both in content and character. And we must wake up to this and demand for clarity in terms of a forensic audit. Right, Honorable Speaker, we should not be duped by acting because there has been a reference of 1 or 2 individuals. It's a general problem. So saying you are doing away with this one and the other without digging into the details, for whatever the reasons, this could have been only one person whose information was available to the committee. But there are hundreds more there who are supervising their children, their wives, and everything. So let's have this clearly brought out by a forensic audit in HR. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, justice must not only be done, but thank you for permitting me more minutes. Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about a report where there are concerns of not being heard and being heard. The Honorable Agnes raised a very pertinent issue when she was submitting. She's read a letter of appointment where they said NSSF remittances due to eligibility. We have not divulged deep into whether she was eligible or not, or those people who benefited from the 10% were eligible or not. And we are here wasting time. Is right, is wrong, is right, is wrong. I think Honorable
Taylor.
I withdraw my statement, Right Honorable Speaker. I withdraw my statement, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want
Who is wasting time?
Right Honorable Speaker, I've withdrawn the statement.
Okay, give it to Nachimuli now.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank the committee for a job well done. Madam Speaker, the NSSF does not have a specific policy on investment, especially when it comes to land purchase. That's why you see they just buy land anyhow. Somebody talked about the houses that are constructed that our people cannot afford to buy, especially those who are down there in the villages. I think if there's an investment policy that should be followed by NSSF, things are going to be handled, Madam Speaker, well. But a lot of monies are wasted and stolen by our gentlemen and women because of lack of policies. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The policy we are talking about, when you look at section 13, it says the investment shall be. The investment is such investment. I mean, the monies for investment in such will be determined by the minister. So it is still the same minister to determine the kind of investment that we are talking about. So, Aro?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Komakech Christopher, Member of Parliament, Aro County, born in Puranga Sub-County. Right Honorable Speaker, it is in moments like this that the people out of Parliament get to appreciate what the 11th Parliament is doing. And I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, that in such moments, we reaffirm that indeed the 11th Parliament is the People's Parliament. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, committee, for the good work that you have done. Right Honorable Speaker, it is so painful that a gate man, a cleaner, gets to save his or her money with NSSF, and someone who is the custodian of his money squanders the money. Where is the patriotism in such individuals? In 2009, the president disbanded the entire board of NSSF, including the finance minister. Uganda should not tolerate anyone who is trying to embezzle or corrupt or steal a lawman's money. And the 11th Parliament will not be part of this. Right, Honorable Speaker, my question comes in, where is IGG in all this? This came out as a failed deal between the minister and the board members. The minister wanted 6 billion. It was not given to her. Then the board members came out. She said, we would rather all lose and go with nothing. When you go to the Mabati issue, it's still the same thing right now, right, Honorable Minister. When you go to the GOAT issue, it's the same thing. Where is IGG? Why should IGG always wait for someone to have a failed deal to come and fight corruption? Parliament has taken over the fight of corruption. IGG should come in. As I speak, right, Honorable Speaker, there is a case in IGG where the chairman, board of NSSF is alleged to have squandered money, and he has started purchasing buses that only and he has squandered out of money, and the case is on.
Which buses are those?
Toneka buses believed it belongs to Mr. Peter, the chairman NSSF board, and the case is with IGG.
Julie, we are not sure about that. Let's just take it as hearsay. Julie?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Proceed.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure Speaker, you have guided on a matter that may have an effect what we are discussing. I would seek your procedure guidance whether the matter that you have said is yes, should not be expanded before we proceed.
No, it should be expanded because you're just saying from the blues. It's not part of our what is in the report. Was that part of the findings? Expand.
No, Right Honorable Speaker.
Expand it.
Right Honorable Speaker, expand that part.
And apologize. Because don't smuggle any issues to the house.
Right Honorable Speaker, I apologize and with the
Juliet,
although it's in public domain.
Let it be there.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to add my voice to my colleagues to appreciate the committee for the report. Right Honorable Speaker, NSSF money does not belong to the board members, neither does it belong to the management, but it rather belongs to the workers. All of us, we know the difficult conditions in which Ugandans work. The only advantage, Right Honorable Speaker, that these people who misappropriate funds have is that we as Ugandans, we are too forgetful. Right Honorable Speaker, the scandals in SSF have taken quite a long period of time. If we can recall what happened in 1998, by the time when Abel Katembwe was sacked, then just only after 4 years, we remember Dr. Yoram Balongo, and then Mr. Mpoma Ronaldi in 2005. When it came to 2011, all of us, we still recall David Chant Jamwa. Today is the same story. Right Honorable Speaker, it's almost going to become a culture here. This system of setting friendly recommendations to these people who misuse public people's funds, it's going to become a problem in Uganda. To me, I think it's time to tighten the ways how we could save people's money. In this case, I would say that let everybody who was involved in such scandals be accountable. Thank you,
Thank you, Julie Bashir.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Haji Kazivu Bashir Mbazira. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I'm speaking and raising the voice of the poor and voiceless Ugandan that is working either as a juakari, a police officer, a teacher, or someone working in one of the remotest areas in the country. These people, the Ugandans we are talking about, are watching and following the debate tonight. Their hopes are very high that at least the 11th Parliament is going to shine light on those dark grays that have not been shown light onto. I want to highlight a number of cases that have happened before. Ugandans have been watching and following, but we hope and pray that this time round it's going to be different, Right Honorable Speaker and members.
Corruption scandals have been hitting hard the nation's core, and nothing much has been happening. In 2000, we had a police payment to a tune of over 1 billion shillings that were not accounted for. 20 billion shillings were watched going down the drain in 2006 via the TriStar apparel clothing deal that went sour. We have a number of cases that have not been attended to. 2007, we had the Heritage Oil capital gains. 780 billion shillings was lost in that scandal, Right Honorable Speaker and members. 2012, 37.9 billion shillings was lost. As I come closer,
It was lost in what?
it was lost, 2012, it was lost in compensation to Dura Cement Limited, 37.9 billion shillings. I'm talking about the scandals
How
that we
is
had.
it related to NSSF?
In 2000,
Now,
corruption, we're talking about corruption, Right Honorable Speaker.
let's limit our debate to NSSF first.
In 2009, Right Honorable Speaker,
Don't
2.7.
don't divert our debate.
Yes, 2009, 2.7 billion was lost in NSSF.
So
We hope and
how is
pray.
it related to this one?
We have to push further. As people are watching us, the hopes are high that once today, the thieves that have taken this money are not going to sleep in peace in their beds. I implore each and every one of us here, Right Honorable Speaker and members, to have these resolutions passed, to see to it that the minister, the line minister, the MD are brought to book and cough the monies that they have swindled. I beg to move.
Thank you, Dr. Bedi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to start with the areas where I have reservation. It's a very good report. There are only 2 areas, then I'll go to the other. The recommendation 12, it was solicited resignation. I pray that we amend that recommendation, that as long as there is excess that was paid, that's what they should be refunding. Because these 2 board members, they were asked to resign. They must be compensated. But if there were excesses that were paid beyond what is required, then that's what they should refund. Second,
Make a clear clarification on that.
yes, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about recommendation 12.
What is the recommendation say?
Talking about the 2 board members that were asked to resign so that women come in, which is solicited because they asked them. When you solicit a resignation, it is very different when I freely resign.
Do you have evidence to the solicitation?
Yes, they mentioned it in the report. It is mentioned in the report. It is mentioned Right Honorable in the report. So I'm proposing an amendment that recommendation we amend that only they should pay back money which is in excess. The excess is easy to determine on what you accrue as long as you're a board member. It's very easy. Yes. Yes. Right Honorable Speaker.
Does the act provide for resignation of a board member?
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm coming from a background that this resignation was solicited to comply with the new law. That's where I'm making my proposal. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of the chief.
Was it in compliance with the new law or is it a constitutional matter? We are entitled to a third.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, whether it is a constitutional matter or a new law, as long as it was solicited, that is where the rationale is. As long as you solicit, you compensate. Right Honorable Speaker.
You will speak, don't worry.
When you look.
Why are you making a rebuttal on him?
Yes, you will speak. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at this report, it's an evidence of corruption, of safety, it's an evidence that the workers' money, the savers' money is in danger. When I had the report and I read, my mind went to the United States of America. When they arrest people in a home, which they call house arrest, they apply gadgets called the ankle bracelet so that they can control your movement. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to propose that government procures ankle bracelet and we apply them on all the members so that they will never be near the NSSF property. They are very dangerous to the workers' money, and I so move.
Thank you. I can see the president of DP, chairman of DP. Honorable Katabazi, Christine, Ethel.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker. I would also like to thank the chairman for the wonderful report. Madam Speaker, a friend of mine recently told me that if you want to have peace of mind, don't get to know what is happening in government institutions because you might become dizzy. And this is evident from the report we've just, we had.
So are you dizzy now?
I'm becoming a bit okay now.
So you may not be in a sober mind.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah. If
I would like to, there is one time the former MT, Mr. Gaba, when we were bringing in this issue of midterm access to savings. And he made a statement, which I think all of us should really think about, because he said, we were caught pants down. You know, when they catch you pants down, that means you are doing something wrong. You are doing something. And that is the reason why we had to change. When we sent that to the president, he said adjust, because at first it was those who could access, you could have saved 10 for 10 years and above 45 years, all 45 years and above. So that meant that somebody who started working early.
Christian.
Can I conclude, Madam Speaker?
Christian.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, from the observations of the report, it is evident that we need to come out with a recommendation of having a 5-year investigations, that every parliament must constitute an ad hoc committee, because the last ad hoc report was in 2015, and I can see this one, challenges started in 2020. So it is okay for us to recommend that every 5 years, Parliament constitutes an ad hoc committee to investigate into NSSF
Christian,
operations.
we have committees where NSSF reports to that do oversight for NSSF. We have COSASE, that is a standing committee for NSSF. And then we have, is it legal? Gender, we have gender. We have very able committees. You don't have to constitute a ad hoc committee.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My last contribution is on the need to establish targets. When we see that in 2010, NSSF was at 1.7 trillions, and later it was 17.2. And we clap over that. We need to first ask ourselves, what was the annual target? What was the annual milestone? Because we may be praising poor performance. And I also see this in the price setting. I have also had it in the allowances, which are not set anywhere. The same about the prices of the properties. We need to have milestones. We need to have targets that guide our decisions. Otherwise, this business of saying the Tanzanian trip will take 37 millions, then the Kenyan now will take 40, that business should stop. And I also, Right Honorable Speaker, request that we maintain the love for the two ministers to remain within. Because I see this other part of the beneficiaries is not coming out clearly. We need to emphasize this other part of the beneficiaries and the savers. Actually, after this debate, the media is waiting for us. Even our voters, they are asking us, is our money safe? Is our money there? And I can see we are still juggling with the answers. So we request the committee.
Christine, we are not juggling with the answers. We know the position. We have gotten a report, and NSSF has a plan, a work plan. It has targets in place. We are talking about a return on investment. How much has it built over a period of time? Anyway, this can only be understood by people who know figures. Ethel?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Some time back, we really took a lot of time when we were considering the amendment over the supervisory role. So I could recommend, and my proposal is that if a certain minister has made an error, we don't have to change the law. Let's stand by what we did here and let the law remain. Another one will be able to move on. And secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, having read the report and we are seeing a mobile app as per the system that was expected to be in place on pages 135 and 136, I could also propose let the audit, the forensic audit, also look into the system. We are tired of our people coming continuously claiming, and then NSSF is not giving them due diligence, and let that system be in position to have all the next of kin, everyone just in due time, so that by the time one passes on, other people are in place to take in turn, and the mobile app should be also in position to capture every detail of what's expected, the way it was mentioned here as summit, Right Honorable.
Was there a suggestion on amendment of the law or operation? It is an operation.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now that tells you that I'm more attentive. Atkins.
Madam Speaker. I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, for your distinguished leadership and putting our country first. And I want to believe without any fear of contradiction that we could be having the best speaker in the history of this country. But that's not the point. Mr. Chairperson, I really want to thank you for a good job. And please don't lose heart. You have our back. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, for evil to thrive, you want and you need one ingredient: good people to do nothing. And I'm happy with this 11th Parliament. We're doing what we're supposed to do. And no amount of blackmail, no amount of intimidation will get our backs off. Madam Speaker, I don't want to repeat what has been said in the interest of time. May I propose, Madam Speaker, that those that have been mentioned clearly in the line of corruption and leading to loss of hard-earned taxpayers or savers' money, deposit. Madam Speaker, they should deposit their passports. Yeah, we should have all of their passports assembled and then kept, because my fear, Madam Speaker, is that this report already mentioned Minister Bakok. She's not in the country. She took off. And who knows, maybe somebody is in the queue and they want to take off. So, Madam Speaker, if it pleases you, I'm asking that among the recommendations that we should have
Thank you.
these passports of these individuals deposited. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Odur, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the National Social Security Fund was established in 1985, the UPC government then stated that the fund should be to the benefit of the savers. But what we are seeing today is that the fund is now benefiting the board members, the fund is now benefiting the ministers and people around them. That was not the spirit in which in 1985, when the UPC proposed this law, they wanted the beneficiaries. So I want to start by saying, and I want to say that on the record, if there is a minister who is abusing her powers or his powers, the UPC disassociates ourselves from that. Because as a party, we are very clean and we look forward to taking good power. Madam Speaker, now, I would like now to support all the 27 recommendations with very minor amendments to certain areas that I'm going to speak about that. The first point is that there are cases of insider dealings that have been reported and discovered by the committee. Madam Speaker, insider dealing is a very serious matter of corporate governance. It cannot be left to go and challenge.
Miss Uganda, can you keep quiet?
It cannot be left that members of the board sit and decide to award themselves contracts and opportunities to offer services, and that goes unchallenged. That should be strictly dealt with, and I support that the board members be dealt with seriously. Secondly, Madam Speaker, when you talk about recoveries, this money of the savers, I am one of the savers, the money attracts interest. If somebody utilized our money and they were never supposed to receive that money, it is only fair that they refund with interest. Because that interest affects the final decision that the Minister of Finance usually declares to us. So I want to make an amendment that the refunds that are stated here must be with interest, and the interest can be established by the standards set by the central bank. Thirdly, Madam Speaker, I want to state that the Ministry of Finance, while it seeks to take control of the investment decisions, the ministry should also help us. There are so many bad investment decisions that took place under the watch of Ministry of Finance. And we can mention them here, whether you talk about the pension towers, the variations that are therein, whether you talk about the Lubowa estates, the amount of money, it is a bad investment decision. The Ministry of Finance should not just come and say, we want to be in charge of this, but what is it that they are doing to enable members get money? That's why I support that the declaration of interest, this past year, they did it at 9.5%. Madam Speaker, as I said, I was hurt because I felt that the money we have invested could have attracted more. If they are investing responsibly, NSSF should actually be declaring interest above 15%. So the forensic audit that has been recommended must be able to deal with that. Madam Speaker, under the corporate social responsibility, as Parliament, we want to speak with very clean hands. And Madam Speaker, I beg that you support this. The money meant for corporate social responsibility was meant and was utilized to used to sponsor some members of Parliament in this house to Malaysia. And the chairman of the committee, because Madam Speaker, you spoke very strongly about committees soliciting money from outside.
Which members?
The members of Finance Committee, when they were processing the bill, the money that they used to go abroad was money from corporate social responsibility.
And didn't we pay as Parliament?
Parliament did not.
No, didn't we pay it as Parliament?
Maybe if Parliament paid, it was now double. It was double paid.
Clark, can you find out who sponsored the members to go to whichever country they went?
Yes. And that is the reason why I wanted to fault the chairperson that when you are doing an investigation, you must be very fair and
Conflict
lenient.
of interest.
Okay.
I mean, conflict of interest.
No, not the chair.
Not this chair.
Yes,
The chair of finance.
Yes.
The committee of finance, not the chair. The
Yes,
committee of
members
finance.
went to
Can I have that information?
I'm on the record, and the money was solicited, and we want that money to be refunded.
Can I have that information? Honorable members, I am going to get that information and I'll report on Thursday on action taken. I am saying action taken. Because we have said we will not get money from institutions, from MDAs to facilitate benchmarking. So what are you going to benchmark? You're going to do what the institution wants, not what the public needs or Parliament.
Finally, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, the committee did observe correctly that there were some allegations made on social media regarding Mr. Job Matua. And the committee took an extra...
Is Richard Matua.
I think Richard Job Matua calls himself. The committee took an extra step because they were doing an investigation to even follow to verify whether those allegations were true. There are other allegations that were made, and the committee coyed away from it. And that's why I want to refer you to page 7 of the report, paragraph 2. On page 7, paragraph 2, I will rephrase. It is actually true that the president, the prime minister, the minister of gender, the coordinator of operation wealth creation were among the people. It is in your report, although it is not explicitly mentioned, but we know there is only one coordinator of operation wealth creation. The committee should have done justice.
You're actually speaking in anticipation. It was not. The reports, the documents, the recommendations that were made were in letters. And they were laid on this house, laid on table. You finalize it? You have no information.
I now want to finalize on the last point. On the last point, Madam Speaker, that the records must be corrected. The committee recommends that Mr. Richard Biarugaba should step aside. He is no longer, as far as I know.
He's not an MD. That's correct.
He's no longer an MD. So there is nothing for him to step aside.
That's correct.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Honorable members, Honorable Betty Amongi Ongom Kena is actually not in the house. We will allow her to come and present her statement on Thursday, and we close the debate. I'll be left with one thing. Remember when you said we will put a question? Okay. We will wait to hear from her. We will entertain few questions
First, I want to thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for being that keen. I was actually wondering that we are discussing this report with recommendations that touch the person of Honorable Betty Moore. She's not here. I had wanted to ask the chief whip where, well, this is not your member, you know, she's half your member. You'd be explaining. The chief whip whips all the people on that side and she sits there. Now, you have rightly observed, in light of your guidance, Right Honorable Speaker, because the leader of the opposition seals the debate from our end. Would it not be procedurally
today.
right? No. When he speaks, we would be banned from speaking. And yet we may be interested, following the minister's presentation, to make certain observations and debate. Would it not be procedurally right that you find pleasure in suspending the debate until that time, when my daughter, the Honorable Betty Ongom, among comes and makes her presentation on this, because we are very deeply interested in hearing from her, because the observations against her are very, very strong and substantial.
Thank you.
I'm imploring you.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Betty can actually get the answer of today. Look at what has been mentioned about her, and then she will be given a chance to respond on Thursday. And based on that, and since you say it seals the debate, I now adjourn the House to Thursday at 2.